Welcome back, and let's jump right into enshrining our Living Inductees. Photo op. Okay. Jon Anabo. Jon Anabo is one of 5 of our 2023 inductees who has a Wikipedia page. It is a brief mention that he played at Armijo and then goes on to his successes in college and the pros. Anabo, another one of the Pizzolino boys, was most popular in the 1957 yearbook. He was senior class president, played baseball, basketball, was on the track and field squad, and also sang in the choir. But he was best known for his prowess as the Indians quarterback. In 1955, Armijo tied Benicia 19-19 for the Solano County Athletic League title, the last football championship, or in this case, co-championship, since then. Yes, it's been a while. After Armijo, he went to Vallejo Junior College, now Solano Community College, from 1958 to 1960. Anabo was inducted into the Solano Community College Hall of Fame in 2004. He then went to Fresno State, where he helped lead the Bulldogs to an undefeated season. He passed for 454 yards and 8 touchdowns in 1961. Whoa. The Fresno State Bulldogs emerged victorious in the 1961 Mercy Bowl.
1961. Fresno State was at the Coliseum in Los Angeles, a 6-point underdog in its bowl game against Bowling Green. The Bulldogs won. That was the Mercy Bowl. And winning that game gave the Bulldogs a perfect season.
I didn't think we had it in us, even when we were 10-0. I had to look back and see, did this really happen? And it did.
Anabo ended his college career with 96 completions on 178 attempted passes for 1,334 yards and 17 touchdowns. He was twice named to the All-West Coast team. In the 1962 NFL draft, Anabo was selected in the 19th round by the Cleveland Browns. And in the 1963 AFL draft, he was selected in the 23rd round by the Oakland Raiders. He signed with the Browns in 1963. And the following year, during a preseason game, Anabo threw a 74-yard touchdown pass. And Jim Brown was one of his teammates, by the way. But he didn't make the final cuts, and he signed with the Edmonton Eskimos of the Canadian Football League. Now, after retiring from professional football, Anabo coached high school football at Hoover High School and Bullard High School, and was named Coach of the Year at both. He also served as a quarterback and receivers coach at Fresno State and started a career in broadcasting as a football color commentator. This kind of sounds like one of those episodes of the NFL Network's Jon Anabo, A Football Life, doesn't it? Well, then here's the climax. Please join me in welcoming Jon Anabo into the Armijo High School Hall of Fame. There's Jon right there in the back. He's right there. Accepting an award for him is Gary Drummond and Gene Thacker.
Good evening, everyone, or afternoon, I guess it is. Gene and I are here in a purely ceremonial role, since Jon is sitting right over there, but we're a little more fleet of foot than he is. So he asked us just a few months ago if we would come and accept the award and say a couple of things. we've been friends since 1954. And we're now 84 years old, and we're still the closest of friends. And I'll just say one thing. Gene has a story to tell. I mean, John's a typical overachiever. So there are other things that you need to know about Jon. But I'll just say, many years ago, I can't remember how many years ago it was, Gene, Mike Green, myself, were at Jon's Hall of Fame for the Solano College ceremony. And one of us, and I don't remember which one it was, said that we recognized, of course, the kind of mystery of friendship and long-lasting friendship. But there was something more, and one of us said, we've always really admired you, Jon. And it went around the circle, and every one of us felt the same thing, that we actually were the closest of friends. But over and beyond that, we admired him, and we still do. So, Jon, congratulations.
Well, everybody knows about Jon's athletic abilities. Football, basketball, track and field, set records in a high jump, hurdles. However, Martinez relays, 1956. Jon was going to throw the discus. If you know what the discus, you have to spin around, flip the discus out there. And usually when you throw one out, you throw one that's better, you say mark it. Or if you throw one less, you just step out of the ring and scratch. Well, it comes up Jon's turn. So he gets back in their thing and he winds up and he heaves a tremendous throw that went 4 feet. Crashed into the dirt and the mud and everything else. And some wise guy says, mark it. Another thing that just came to me, being athletic, you think, you can do almost anything. One day, 1954, 5, 6, I don't remember exactly, we're walking home from football practice. We're right down in front of maybe Al Witt's barbershop in that area right there. Had parking meters in those days. Jon was showing off and he's going hop skipping over the parking meters. Until they got to one right in front of the theater where his crotch of his pants caught the parking meter and he goes right in his head on the pipe. So even though he's athletic, he's not very good at that. So I can say Jon and Buddy Tonneson and the football team and Mike Green in the backfield, they kind of steered us to what we needed to do. Us guys with our knuckles in the dirt, all we could do is just block and tackle for them and let them do their thing. And Jon did his thing. Tony mentioned his 74-yard touchdown pass to Walt Roberts, San Jose State guy, by the way. In high school, I remember one play where we were doing our thing, blocking, all of a sudden I see the ball go into the headlights of the field lights. I said, who the heck is he throwing to? Well, all of a sudden, Al Rossi pulls up there and he hauls in about a 78-yard touchdown pass. So he's always had that ability, and it was a pleasure to be a teammate of his and for sure being a friend. Thank you.
Michael Burgher.
That's my guy.
Pinning and winning.
Yep.
That was the name of the game for class of 1975 grad Michael Burgher, who is unquestionably the greatest wrestler ever to come from Armijo's hollowed halls. I found it interesting to learn that like football standout George Martin, whose first love was basketball, Michael Burgher's first sports love was not the one he's best known for, but football. But when it came to the ancient sport of wrestling, Burgher's innate abilities, strength, agility, and quickness were honed and focused by Coach Ron Cortez. Burgher recalls Cortez being more than a coach and considered him to be a father figure who took him under his wing. Burgher kept improving, and in both his junior and senior years, he was the team's most valuable player. His final season was his finest. Burgher set a then state record with 66 wins and finished 4th in the state at 154 pounds. His senior yearbook saluted his 4-year record of 148 wins, 15 losses, and 77 pins, and dubbed him the best wrestler ever at Armijo. After high school, Burgher attended Palomar Community College in San Diego County, where he won the conference and the state championship. After Palomar, he went to UCLA and had a stellar career there and went to the Nationals. In 2012, Burgher was inducted into the inaugural Palomar College Athletic Hall of Fame. Now, in the small gym slash wrestling room at Armijo, which was named in honor of Coach Cortez in 2000, Burgher's name is enshrined with other wrestling champions on a wall of fame. Now, there's a sign in that small gym that was placed there by my 1982 classmate, Mark Williams, years after Michael Burgher left, but so he never saw it. But that's not the only reason that he never would have saw it, because it's on the ceiling. Oops. And, oops, what happened? Too fast. And among other things, it says, "You should not be reading this, and thou should not expose thy back." Michael Burgher would not have been reading it because he was never on his back. Please join me in welcoming Michael Burgher into the Armijo High School Hall of Fame.
Say a few words. Honor to God for just giving me the ability to do the things that are done, for the blessings and everything that God has given. And just thank Tony for everything, putting this stuff together, Hall of Fame, and I'm finally coming up here to receive this. I also just want to thank Coach Cortez. Like I say, he was like a father figure to me. And, coached us really well, and he was one of the best coaches. I have some people here, Mr. B, Mr. Bonzer, right here, this Dr. Vaughn, that took us to the state championship in Bakerfield. Wave your hand. That's Mr. B right there. And his wife, Nordine, one of the biggest fans and boosters for the wrestling team. We went to the state championship, me and Carl Selden jumped in their mobile home and they drove us down to Bakersfield. They had all of our meet, mats and stuff. His son wrestled also. But anyway, I just thank, this honor right here, and just thank God for everything. All right. Thank you, Mr. B. Good morning. Coach T, I just went to see him yesterday at the house. He was trying to get here today, but he didn't make it. But it's just an honor to be honored with all of the people here who's received their awards and to be in this class of 2023. God bless you all and congratulations.
Mike Diaz. Yes. There have been many different kinds of clubs at Armijo over the years. Science Club, Robotics Club, the Black Student Union, Language Club, Gay Straight Alliance, War Gamers Club, and many more. But there's one club, as far as I know, that only has 7 members in it combined for over the last 70 years. It's the 1,000 Point Club in basketball. Athletes who scored at least that many points in their Armijo basketball careers. Topping that list with 1,677 points hooping was Mike Diaz. Diaz was a hoop standout for all 4 years in Armijo, but his senior year, the 1952-1953 season was special. The Indians went 21-2 overall, and they were 6-0 in the Solano County Athletic League. They bookended their dominating season with an opening victory over Dixon, 81-51, and closed it out with a complete beatdown of Vacaville, 117-60. The most remarkable game of the season took place against the Benicia Panthers. In it, Diaz scored 64 of Armijo's 90 points and set a state single-game record. Now, it wasn't like he was just running and gunning. There was a method to his scoring madness. According to Coach Ed Hopkins, the team had 2 goals when they played Benicia, to win the game, obviously, and when that had been secured, to help Diaz retake the record. So they were feeding him. Even if one didn't know that was the plan, a cursory glance at the scoring breakdown makes it obvious. After Diaz's 64 points, the next highest Armijo scorer was Gary Tonneson with 9. To celebrate and memorialize his achievement, the 1953 La Mezcla yearbook added a special page honoring Diaz as Armijo's once-in-a-lifetime basketball player. After Armijo, Diaz accepted a full-ride scholarship to the University of California, Berkeley. After graduating from Cal, Diaz taught mathematics, boys PE, world geography, and driver's training at Armijo from 1959 to 1961. He also was a successful coach, guiding the baseball and junior varsity basketball teams. Then in 1961, he went to San Rafael High School, where he would stay until retiring in 1994. Diaz taught and coached for a number of years and later became the athletic director. In 1990, he agreed to coach the girls' varsity basketball team. In 1991, the team won the Marin County Athletic League, North Coast sections, and the Northern California Championships. At the state championship game, they came close to winning it all, but lost in overtime. Diaz devised a play for his team to run after a timeout to try to get a quick score. Its name, Armijo. Mike Diaz is a member of the Marin County Athletic Hall of Fame, the San Rafael Hall of Honor, and today he is now inducted into the Armijo High School Hall of Fame. And now his nephew and class of 1980 grad, Stacy Owensby, will speak on Mike's behalf.
Kind of like Coach Dahl, who I played for in the late 70s. I think Tony just gave half of my speech. So I'll try and make this as brief as I can. It's definitely a great pleasure for me to be back in Fairfield today. And first of all, we'd like to thank the Armijo Alumni Association for this tremendous recognition. Uncle Mike, my Uncle Mike, is deeply appreciative to receive this honor. He couldn't be with us today, so he asked me to come in his stead. But he wanted everyone to know just how deeply appreciative he is of this recognition. As Tony mentioned, my Uncle Mike first wanted to thank, in addition to the Alumni Association, Ed Hopkins, who did much more than coach Mike. Coach Hopkins also served as a much-needed mentor and counselor, and literally guided my uncle to attend UC Berkeley. On weekends, Coach Hopkins would drive Mike over to the Berkeley campus, tour the campus, meet the coach, legendary Pete Newell, and help Mike with the enrollment process. And for that, Mike was deeply indebted. Having attended Berkeley and having coaches like Coach Hopkins and Coach Newell, it deeply impacted and greatly influenced my uncle to spend his career path teaching and coaching at the high school level. My Uncle Mike would also like to thank all of his teammates at Armijo, since basketball is certainly a team sport. Chief among them, his younger brother, my other uncle, Ed Diaz, who's 2 years behind my Uncle Mike. But in addition to that, Mike would also like to recognize Bud and Gary Tonneson, Ed Reeves, and Homer Kiefer. A couple of quick items about that 64-point game that my uncle had. Mike and I have talked about it a lot recently, and they were playing Benicia High School, and Mike had 28 points at halftime. And Coach Hopkins, according to my uncle, kind of surveyed the team and said, should we let Mike go for the record? The record was 44 points by a gentleman named Farrell Funston from Dixon High School. And according to Uncle Mike, to a man, the team says, yes, let's help Uncle Mike get that record. Let's help Mike get the record. And Mike scored 64 points that night. Well, a lot of folks don't know, probably no one outside of our family was, the day prior to that game, my uncle was homesick with 104 fever. And he was able to somehow get out of bed the next day. The fever broke, he had a bad flu, and he played in the game and had a 64-point game that wasn't eclipsed until Bill Cartwright broke the record with 66 points in a game in 1975. Mike played a variety of sports at Armijo, and he readily shared that sports were a strong motivational factor for him to do well, both academically, both in high school and at Cal. And it also led Mike to choose a career in teaching and coaching students at the high school level. After college, as Tony mentioned, Mike returned to Fairfield and coached at Armijo for a few years before transitioning to San Rafael High School, where he coached boys and girls basketball for well over 30 years. As Tony mentioned, one of his favorite plays at San Rafael High School, both for the boys and girls teams, was Armijo, which featured some high post cuts and backdoor screens. It was a great play. I saw it myself many times, worked really, really well. And my Uncle Mike credited Coach Hopkins for teaching him that play when Mike was at Armijo. If I may add also, as Tony mentioned, my uncle about a decade or so ago was inducted into the Marin County Athletic Hall of Fame as a coach. And earlier this year, he was inducted into the San Rafael High School Hall of Fame as a coach and athletic director and teacher. But I can say unequivocally that when my Uncle Mike found out about this particular award or honor, this was certainly the crown jewel of all of his Hall of Fame recognition. So in closing, on behalf of my uncle and my entire family, we sincerely thank you for this recognition. It is very much appreciated. Thank you.
The Engell family. How many of you attended the inaugural Armijo High School Hall of Fame event back in 2015? Got a few, yeah, okay. Well, back then we had two categories of inductees, posthumous and living. This year we added a third, generational. Now the first of three families inducted is the Engell family. Now if you attended Armijo back in the day, your class was actually issued your very own Engell. Yes. Bonnie was our Engell. Class of 1949 grad Art Engell, a longtime Fairfield real estate agent, once made a diagram of all the members of his family who graduated from Armijo. It represented 4 generations. The first Engell to graduate from Armijo was his uncle Clifford Engell in 1923, and the latest was his granddaughter Caitlin Engell in 2007. This is the class of 1923, and shame on the yearbook staff for not listing who was who, but he's in there somewhere, I guess. Art Engell graduated with the class of 1949 and helped to pioneer the Armijo power couple concept when he married Virginia Dee Dee Crevea from the class of 1952. Art and Dee Dee's 4 sons, Lori, Ed, Randy, and Donald, all attended Armijo, as did several of their children. Many of them excelled in sports, including football, baseball, basketball, and golf. Lori's wife since 1977, Judy, is a 1975 grad as well, and the daughter of Armijo English teacher and Hall of Famer Darrell Anderson. Lori and Judy's 3rd son, Robbie's wife, Jessica, is also an Armijo grad. Now, I'm originally from Virginia, and the slogan, the unofficial motto is Virginia is for lovers, but evidently, Armijo is for lovers too. We don't have that t-shirt in the lobby, so don't ask. The Engell family has made their mark in numerous fields, including management, small business ownership, public service, insurance, healthcare, trucking, and much more. They are wonderful unofficial ambassadors of the school, and it is my honor to welcome the Engell family into the Armijo High School Hall of Fame.
not speakers. So just want to thank everyone. I was hoping my dad would be here, he's not here today. We just appreciate everything that Armijo's done for us. I hear all these names about Coach Fuller and Cortez, and all I was on the 82 team of the tennis. You know, we won the San Joaquin, the big one, which was good. Names, Jay Dahl, Jim Gilly, Al Madalena, you know, things like that I really appreciate. And if Jay is still here, he taught me driver's ed. I only got 11 infractions. So I have a clear record now, so that's my brother Ed. Thank you so much. Jim Gilly, all those guys, you know, Cortez and all those guys, I grew up and they taught me a lot, especially Jim Gilly. And he still comes by my house today. Yeah, he comes by and, you know, everything's good. But anyway, shoot, I love Armijo High School, and then when they took the Indian off the wall, you know, that was bad. That was Armijo Indians. Okay, that's where I grew up, you know, and to see them finally take that thing out in the front, you know, in the corner, they took that plaque off. I wanted to try to find it so I could put it in my backyard. I love Armijo. I love you guys. You know, I appreciate everything. Okay.
All right. Great Huck Flener. Class of 1987 grad Gregory Allen Flener was called Huckleberry by his dad at birth, and the nickname Huck stuck. Now, Huck was going to Armijo when he was 6 years old, sort of. He would sneak into Armijo football games. He was also one of then Brantford PE teacher Jay Dahl's ball boys who would come to see the Armijo basketball games. Huck played t-ball in Little League, and while he was blessed with a pretty good arm, he said that when he was 11 years old, he couldn't throw a strike to save his life. But with practice and coaching, he improved. When he was a freshman at Armijo, Flener started on the JV team, but was elevated to varsity. By the way, he also excelled in basketball and soccer, and was involved in a student tutoring program called the Math Network. When told by his baseball coach, Dave Marshall, that he could probably play baseball past high school, Flener said he wanted to play for Cal State Fullerton, who had just won the national championship, which made Marshall laugh. But he spoke it into existence, because he ended up getting a full-ride scholarship there. Flener pitched for the Titans for 3 years, and during his freshman and junior years, they went to the College World Series, but didn't win it either time. On the day they were eliminated from the series the second time, Flener got a telegram. That's an old school text. Saying he'd been drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays. There began a long saga of mini camps, rookie ball, and the process of honing his talent to prepare him for the show. In September 1993, Flener got the call up by the majors, which he described as surreal. Unfortunately, in all the excitement and lack of sleep, Flener left his gear bag with his cleats, glove, and other equipment at the hotel, which is 45 minutes away from Detroit's Tiger Stadium. And he didn't realize it until it was almost game time.
He may have been green, but when rookie Huck Flener made his major league debut in 1993, not even he could have imagined having to make it in Sean Green's jersey.
I didn't get any sleep, was on a bus ride in AA, and left my whole equipment bag in the hotel in Detroit. I was so excited to get to the park, and got to the field, looked at my locker, and there's nothing, no gloves, no cleats, no nothing. And then there was a little mix-up with our equipment manager, and he didn't know that I was in town yet, and so I had to borrow Sean Green's jersey.
I just started laughing because he's out there making his debut, and all his family and friends are watching. Here he's got my name, so saying, he probably isn't even out there. It's not really Huck, it's someone else. But it is a good laugh.
Whatever. Huck Flener became the first Fairfielder to make it to